We have, so I think we're talking about your agency, what's it been doing January and Feb, my agency January and Feb, and then the overall oeuvre of the market. I see we are live now. Hello, everybody. I'm Trevor Longino. This is Charles Cormier, and we're talking about building and launching growing our particular agencies right now in a crappy market. So, Charles, you want to take off the top of the discussion here?
Yeah, SV Bank, breaking news. They just got, under the protection, I would qualify it that way, by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, which first time I hear about them. So it's, yeah, they're under protection so that they're, people that deposited their money there, they don't get into trouble. I wrote about that this morning, a short post. And as usual, I'm always analyzing the psychology part of it. You can geek out on the numbers all you want, but in the end, we're all emotional apes, you know? And my
Yeah.
surprise was that founders and VCs behaved like apes. Usually they don't, but in this economy, my thesis was that, yeah, they did behave that way and we're scared because the economy is already crappy.
Mhm.
And now, they're kind of in a gloomy state. I would describe these startups because, and I
Yeah.
also wrote about that previously, which is that you can't tell a fucking founder to lay low for a year and like go in austerity. That's like against their nature. You tell that to founder and he's gonna go depressed, he's gonna go anxious, he's gonna go bunkers. But isn't that true? Like that goes against our nature. So I guess my guess is that they were in that state since quite a while, which is a weird psychological state to be in. Most of the founders, especially the Silicon Valley ones, the non-AI ones, right? And yeah, that happened, and they just got bunkers. That was the last drop of that made the glass overflow. What do you think?
That's a very interesting point. I agree that there is uh, people are
Bank
worried,
run,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, founders
herd
are worried
mentality.
right now, um, and that's actually really impacted my business. I'll talk about it in a moment, see if it's impacted yours too.
Hmm.
Um, I agree that telling people, hey, don't do anything for a year, it's just it is a bad idea. I do agree. Um, and one of the things I've learned I think too slow. A lot of my lessons are lessons that I realized like 2 months too late. So I had a hard call with my team this morning, and because I right now have two clients who are actually like active paying, a bunch
Okay.
of sure maybe clients, but they're not really doing much, and then a funnel that's bigger than I've ever had of nobody who's closing. And
Okay.
part of this is because my message has not been right. And so with my team, we've had to try and figure out what do we do to reduce my burn because I've lost 80 grand since October.
Hmm.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't have enough money to keep just paying for. Like, I did the math. We had about 190 hours of billable work last month, and I
Yeah.
paid for 100 hours of labor, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm not surprised to hear that. Jan was really tight. Jan was so fucking weird. Like I would get meetings, no one would buy. I think I had like two cells in Jan, and
yeah,
like my
yeah,
system is a bit different from yours. Is more heavy on the prospecting and the
yeah.
new clients. I have a sort of LTV obviously than you do. I have a bigger turn rate than you do, but I have this machine, and I had to fire 80% of my workforce in Jan. I was like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. I'm always the positive guy, really hopeful, a great leader. I do what I say also, but yeah, the team was really not motivated. Um,
No.
we were late on payroll, and I was like, okay, this I'm keeping the best. I'm cutting the fat, and I had a whole lot of fat in that business. People that, for instance, right, uh, that person that was managing the pod, like what happened to her podcasts, Anyway, so I took these things in my own hands, but most interestingly, in technology, technology is managing most of the stuff in my business, and that makes me really happy. And I think I really an island this year, and I'm not going back to the human island. I think I really made my shift to automation and technology and AI, and I don't think I'm ever coming back, and that's a huge fundamental change. AI is just game changing this year, and that's a question I had for you. But I mean, we can also continue the agency discussion, the finance, and so forth a bit later. But how do you find your tech? You know, because I use Product Hunt to test out new software. I obviously am on Twitter and LinkedIn. I sometimes open these posts, you know, about people asking for tech. I will also post these posts myself once I have a bigger audience. I mean, I could post them right now, no excuses. But I feel that I would get like great recommendations. For example, and last thing, I ask friends like you, like that are good with technology, technologists, uh, what are they using? For example, today I ask you, do you have an app that can take all of my LinkedIn posts and make a book with them? I tried with ChatGPT as well. There's probably a way to do it, but how do you find your tech?
So I am definitely like you. I'm in Product Hunt. I get I'm subscribed to a couple emails. I don't read them much, but you still get the headlines, right? That are all in the AI space, right? About what's developing in AI. And I'm making like strategic choices around what is automatable and what's not automatable. Most of the work my team does isn't really automatable right now. Maybe in the future it will be. And like the team I have and the discussion I have with them today is like this team is like I don't have a huge staff, right? There's just six of us all told,
Okay.
and uh, everyone has the specialty they work on, and that specialty might be like graphic design, might be copywriting, might be buying and running ads, but they're all really good at their individual specialties, and uh, because we don't have people doing like we do make use of AI in the company, and because we've made
Mm,
use of AI, theoretically, my capacity for delivery has doubled with this same size team. I still have enough
mm,
business to double up what needs to be done.
yeah.
So uh, the way I find tech, Product Hunt through whatever, I build some stuff too, right? With no code, with OpenAI's new API,
Mm,
right? You can just build things now if you
whispers.
understand the limitations of what you can do.
Yeah.
Like one of the tech problems I'm having right now is I'm doing live videos with you, with my friend David Isaac Matthews
Mm-hmm.
from Causality, with Tom from X-Ray Tech, like all these people I'm doing live videos with, and we make good content. We say interesting things.
Mm,
But how do I extract snippets for social media? That's very
yep.
time intensive, right? To do a one
Yep.
hour video, to cut out the right bits of audio and video from it and format them and make them look good, it takes about 3 hours.
Okay.
That's tremendously time intensive. So I'm looking at like and working with Tom from X-Ray saying, how do we automate that with AI? How do we find automatically the moments of high emotional intensity or of something interesting that's said,
Mm,
extract that, automatically make a video, right?
mm,
If you can do that with some degree of accuracy through AI, that's an agency problem and a content producer problem that
mm,
is like everybody has, right? And solving that uh, effectively with AI and building your own tools is a big win. And if
yeah.
I can chop away those 3 hours I need every week to fix, to make social shareable clips, that would be tremendous. This kind of thing is what you can do with AI, right? You can't yet, and hopefully for a few years still, like unique ideation is not what AI is good at. And
Yep.
that's the value, like you as an agency owner, me as an agency owner, that's what we're trying to get to. And all of my team in Crowd Tamers, they are unique idea creators more than they are implementers of known stuff. And so I can't
Love it.
automate their work away particularly. But
Mm,
if I can't get enough work to keep them busy and I'm losing money every month and have been for a while, like what
mm,
we have to do to balance that out, the team is working on like now we're defining what that is.
yeah.
But it was like I had to have that call. You obviously had a fairly large layoff. Um,
Yeah. Not my
that
first time also, you know, like that's the discussion I was having right before that call. I've
yeah,
had it once every 2 3 years, you know, it's
gotcha.
cycling, and humans, they don't change as quick as we would want them to. And I'm a
Sure.
human, you're a human. Our brain is slow evolving until we start playing with it, which is probably like my next big startup. It's biotech, it's Neuralink like. We evolve too slow. Um, Another thing I'm gonna, because there's a whole array of cool topics here, but I was thinking, you know, I had like various cool ideas I'm gonna tell you after that, but why does it take me so long to have these ideas. For example, oh, can I be an advisor in Trev's new company? Oh, can I run a campaign for Trev and take a commission? Why does it take my brain so long to come up with that idea? And also, why does it take me so long to adopt habits? Why is it so painful? Or is it really painful? Is it the brain that keeps creating these problems that never materialize? That can be a good part of it. And I think that's where technology can really much help us, you know? But that being said, what's your price point for that one, for that size, and who would be the target?
For this one I'm building right now, one is an
Yep,
extension of the four product, well, the one product I'm launching 4 times by the end of this month, right? Which is meeting transcription and note taking, and then just extending that, saying what else can I add, right? And who's the audience? That I mean, anybody who makes content, anybody who makes video or audio content, right? Wouldn't you like to be able to pull
sure.
out a sizzle reel automatically? I mean, I'm
Okay.
building it because I want to solve the problem, and if I can solve the problem adequately to my needs, then of course I want to try and commercialize it. Like
So
that
starting, let's
idea.
say, at $30 a month for like 10 videos, and then
I mean,
scaling
something.
to 50 and then 100 for enterprise
I mean, something. I don't
per
know how it would work,
user.
right? Yeah, I don't know how it would work. The pricing isn't my concern right now. What's also really awesome, and Tom, if you're listening, sorry for I guess giving it away. I don't know. We brought this idea up on Monday when he and I talked. He's like, it's impossible. It takes too much work. And so we
Okay.
talked through how to do it for like 10 minutes. And by
Okay.
the end of a 10-minute discussion, it went from you have to charge $1,000 a month to do this to I bet you can probably do it for $10 a month. And just
Yeah,
by
I
going
guess
through
OpenAI was the main point to that, right? That their
that,
APIs at
actually,
like 0.001.
actually, I mean, that's part of it. But our discussion wasn't around the open AI part. It was just
Okay.
how do you process
The
the video? How do you
MVP.
find the right bits? How do you put in if you want to throw in sub? Like how do you do all of this? And it's
Hmm.
really hard. And then we worked through. We did like just a few minutes research, and we went, actually, it's not.
Hmm.
Like it can be solved quickly.
Yep.
And that is the other thing is part of what a good technologist does. Someone running a leaner business right now does is when you first approach a problem, you might go, oh, this can't be done.
Hmm.
And then you begin to study how to fit the Rubik's Cube together, and you go, oh, actually, this is solvable, and it's way easier than you thought
Yep.
when you start to really pull in ideas from like part of what solved this problem we had around how do you take these snippets automatically was we're using, I think, a 25-year-old piece of tech as part of this, right?
Hmm.
And you're
Hmm.
like, OpenAI's API is powering part of this, and then video encoding software from 25 years ago also, and like
Hmm.
being able to put those two together is an unusual combination, but being
Hmm.
able to do that is suddenly where you're unlocking new things. And with OpenAI's API out here, right, everybody who's running a business, no code, like I just hooked OpenAPI up to my Google Sheets and I'm like a kid in a candy shop. I can't even yet think of all the things you can do with this. It is insane.
So
And
exciting.
I'm like running around doing a third of 400 things, and none of any of them because you go, what if I did this and then oh, but this and then oh, but this, and like so part of this. Why is it so hard to change your habits and your mind and your ways? One of them is you have something that works and you don't think about it. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. I've been married for 21 years, right? My wife and I definitely go through periods where we work more on the relationship and we work less on the relationship
Correct.
just
Correct.
because you have the habit, right? And you fall
Hmm.
into some bad habits maybe.
Yep.
And you
Yep.
go, oh, yeah, I haven't talked to my wife about anything important in 3 weeks, but whatever. We have kids, man. We're exhausted all the time. And then you
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
maybe I should check in and see how she's doing as a human. And then you're like, oh, she's having a real bad time. And I have no
Hmm.
idea, right? Like
Hmm.
this, you fall into a habit and then something has to happen to shake you out of it. And it's the same
May,
for anything.
yeah, major wisdom right there. Yeah, I'm taking a lot of mental notes here. So one, the mindset of like why does it take too much time is probably not even the good ones. Probably the cycles of life and everything, the neuroplasticity, the consolidation of gray matter, kind of. And I was about to say the fundamental shift this year of like from humans to tech. Nowadays, it's not building a 1,000 employees um, company. I think my brain finally understood that. Um, but the agency model is very much valid because it's like a lab and it gives you the time to experiment what you want and to be agile. You're not stuck in a fucking startups waiting for the VC market to be healthy again. You know
Yeah.
that must be
Well, I
the
understand.
worst fucking nightmare to be like indebted and to need to follow the orders of a money man and then to wait on the sideline. That must be soul crushing for an entrepreneur. Anyway, um, with all that you said, like I talked about two models that I am implementing this year. Now that I slashed 80% of my workforce, I'm experimenting more than ever. One is the advisor model. You were kind of an inspiration for it. So to like first the FI mentor, and
Yeah.
I'm also like trying other accelerators. And I'm reaching out to various companies. I have the podcast and so forth, which is a bigger lab kind of. I'm trying that out. I know it's not the holy grail, but I love the learning part of it. And I think most people don't understand how monetizable is learning. So I'd be curious to hear you on that, and I'd also be curious to hear you on the second model that I'm trying. And both of these models, they're probably 5% of my time together. But the second one is reaching out to people I admire and running campaigns for free for them. So Justin Michael, I'm not sure if you know the dude, but like
I do not.
okay, tech tech powered sales is like an instant classic.
Okay.
I forgot the name of the dude's Aaron Ross Lemkin, I think, or whatever. The dude that created the Predictable Revenue book.
Ah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so Justin is like the evolution. He's the new
Gotcha.
Aaron guy. Um, and basically, I'm running campaigns for him and I'm learning tons. And it's not taking tons of my time. Apollo, I found a way to pay like $20 per account and have the
Yeah, me too.
campaigns almost automated.
Yeah.
So, for example, the campaign that I do for you that cost me that. So, I want to hear you on the advisor model and I want to hear you on the apprenticeship model.
Interesting. So, I would have one last thought to give about how you shift your mental models as well, which
Yeah.
is all of us as humans are running a simulation of reality in our own head,
True.
right? You don't
100%.
experience like a brand new baby experiences reality uncut, and you
Yep.
look at them and they spend all their time with the mind just blown, right? Like the lights go out and they go, wow, right? Because
Yeah.
they haven't yet learned how to build an interface between them and reality.
Yeah.
And so when you build your mental interface between you and reality, everything is a construct in your own head. And you have to have something say to you that construct is wrong before you can change it.
Mm,
So what you're talking about now with actively learning is you saying, let me reintroduce some plasticity into my mental model that
mm,
sits between me and raw, unfiltered reality.
mm,
And with that, right? So mentorship and apprenticeship, they're two sides of the same coin. One of the best ways to get really good about something is to teach it to somebody else.
mm,
One of the best ways to get good on a process is to document the process. Because
mm.
inevitably, when you do a process that you built organically, the steps don't go in a sensible order. You do 1, 2, 3, 7, 11, 22, 4, 5, 18, because you just put it together. And then when you document it, you go, this looked like an insane person made this SOP. And then when you figure out how it should have gone, you document it in a sensible order, and now you've become better at doing it yourself.
AI is
Right?
going to
That
do that.
idea.
Quick parenthesis Notion AI is super duper exciting. And even me using Team, for example, I just picture myself so hard asking this AI to just like build SOPs for me and onboard my new humans. Parenthesis closed.
I am making use right now of something called, I think, Scribe How. It's called Scribe. And it's basically sits on your computer and it automatically grabs screenshots every time you click and then just documents a process for you automatically, which is really
Love
cool.
it.
Um, when I'm building SOPs now, that's how I do it because it renders it out for you. Uh,
Okay.
but the first time I do it, I read the steps in Scribe and I go, oh, again, this is uncut insanity. I have to go back and think of the right order and do it again. So when you're doing mentorship, somebody asks, how do you do something? And you say, well, this is how you do it. And you go, ah, crap. Actually, I'm not doing it right. And it makes you think about how to be better at it yourself.
Yep.
Apprenticeship is the flip side where you're saying somebody else is doing it right. Let me learn from them and then how do I apply that back to me? So,
Yep.
like among the things I've been learning the hard way in the last month, right? So I have like 240K in unclosed open opportunity right now in my business, which is insane. I
Mm.
usually have like 60.
Yeah.
Part of the reason of that is what used to sell for me doesn't sell anymore. My close rate used to be like 20%.
Yep.
Now it's below 5. It might be below 3.
Yep. I heard that
And
from
that's
clients.
because what people need has changed, right?
Yep. Yep.
And so I'm working with a sales coach, and I record calls not infrequently, and I say, "What's wrong here?" And so, like, I'm trained in sales. I know how to sell, but I've also built up some bad habits
Yep.
because I've just gotten in the habit of doing it this way.
Yep.
So one is working with that sales coach and saying, right, how do you do the right discovery at the start of
Mm.
the call? How do you make sure you know what they want? And what people want now, way more than they wanted previously, is surety. They're scared. Let's bring back to the start of the call, right? They're scared. What they want is to know something good is going to happen for the money they spent. And what I
Okay.
used to sell was through experimentation, you will arrive to a conclusion, right? I don't have to know the right answer. I know the right question.
Yeah.
People don't care now how you reach the conclusion. They want
Yeah.
the conclusion. So
Mm.
I'm not selling experiments anymore, and I've stopped using that word when I talk to leads.
Yep.
I'm building you funnels.
Right.
The way
Right.
I'm building you funnel is exactly the same way I've done it for 15 years. But what they want is the surety of this will work at the end of 2 months or 3 months.
100%.
And
That's
so, like,
good. Uh,
learning that has taken me probably 2 months longer than it should have. But now the sales calls I'm having, basically starting this week, they're going much better, right?
yes.
Have
Yes.
they
And that
closed
will
yet?
take like 21 to 60, 90 days sales cycle. But 100%. The second thing, Trev, we can do another call for that. Can be recorded. I don't have any problems with that. But it's the system, the underlying lead gen system. You need to experiment other niches, and you need to have a bigger deal flow. Me, I've never been worried because I have 75 fucking meetings per week. So even if my closing rate is 5%, I'm still
Right.
closing like 2, 3 clients per week. That's anti-fragile right there. So I'd love
Yeah, yeah.
to book another call and also to discuss about the SaaS thing, which is very exciting, relevant in nowadays time. But yeah, that was pretty cool. That was a banger.
Excellent. All right. Well, Charles, thank you so much for your time. We'll keep this one short. I know you have more calls to get off to because you do 75 a week. Thanks so much, man. I'll catch you next time.
Peace.